Hi, this is Elijah Hughes with God'sBlessing.com, and I have with me here today an interview with my good friend and brother, Dr. Gary Halko. And
Praise the Lord.
Dr. Halko is my friend through a miraculous series of events. I don't think we have time today to tell the whole story, but bottom line was I needed help, and I said some prayers, and the result of those prayers was a stranger that I had never met in another state altogether at a time during the travel. Told me a story about a man, and I was so impressed with that story. I muttered something out loud, and the person said, "You want to meet him? He lives near you." And so I got his phone number, called him, and the rest is history, as they say.
That's it. That's how it happened. Praise the Lord.
Okay, so we just came by just to say hello. We're friends, and I have some other friends with me, and I just thought we would take this ad-lib moment to just throw a few minutes together on the subject of good health and the relationship between the teeth and your entire body. And I figured, who better to talk to than Dr. Halko?
Yes.
So, why don't you just tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about the relationship between the teeth and the health overall?
Well, certainly. You know, the body, for academic purposes, we can divide the body into its different anatomical parts and different anatomical and physiological functions, but in no wise are they isolated. Everything works together for the common good of the whole body. And so from a holistic point of view, the health of the mouth is of very much importance. For instance, I'm working with a young woman now who's in her mid-20s, and because of some serious illnesses that she's had, her overall health declined to the point where she was very sick and not expected to even survive her illness. And during that period of time, also the health of her teeth and the connective tissue around her teeth declined terribly as well. Now she's, by the grace of God and through holistic health and nutritional supplements, she's recovering physiologically, but she has a tremendous amount of infection going on in the bone around her teeth and in the connective tissue, and the upper parts, the parts of the teeth that are exposed in the mouth, have decayed away completely. And so she's in a condition where she has resident opportunistic sorts of infections in her mouth, which are constantly leaking toxins and microorganisms into her bloodstream, and they circulate through her whole body. They're not isolated just to the mouth, and so she has disease processes going on in all the organs of her body, perhaps, and in the glands of her body, and in the muscular tissue, connective tissue, bones, maybe even in her brain. And it's going to be imperative to treat her in such a way to where we can remove the infections, which unfortunately in her case is going to involve removing all of her teeth and cleaning the infections out of the bone in her jaws. And she's going to have to wear artificial teeth for the rest of her life, but this may in fact save and protect and prolong her life. So that's very important. And you know, the mouth is the gateway to the health of the whole body. Everything that enters into the body that we hope will nourish the body passes first through the mouth. And so we have to have healthy teeth in order to properly chew and mix the food with saliva, which is the first fluid that the body produces towards proper digestion and good health. So, in many other aspects, you know, the things that we fill teeth with, the things that we brush our teeth with and rinse our mouths with, even the supplements that we take, all these things are not without effect, and so they should be considered in the holistic, in the whole picture of the whole being.
Okay, great. You know, one of the things that you're very familiar with Dr. Weston Price.
I am.
I think we've talked about him before,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a dentist and a fascinating man. And why don't you just take a moment to kind of share with people your experience or your view, any influence, if any, or things that you picked up from his work and his experience and the things he wrote about that might be interesting.
Dr. Weston Price, who did mostly research and surveys. He traveled all over the world. He was interested in cultures of people who lived closest to nature. He studied their health, and he discovered that people who lived close to the land, close to nature, without civilized processed foods, but ate natural, raw foods primarily, endemic to the area where they lived. These people had very low incident, or even in some populations, zero incidence of any sort of dental malformations. In other words, these people, as they grew, their teeth were hard and strong and absolutely immune to tooth decay. They never had to brush their teeth or floss their teeth or have dental checkups. They had no gingivitis, no periodontitis or pyorrhea. Their teeth never got loose as they aged or weakened. They were straight in alignment, required no orthodontics. Their jaws grew to a large enough size because their bodies were fully mineralized and nourished through the vitamins that they received through the food that they ate. And so there was plenty of room for their wisdom teeth, and this is true for men and women. And the teeth were well positioned, beautiful, and of course their mouth turning out so healthy and beautiful, their whole bodies turned out healthy and beautiful too. All their physical structure and all their functions. And these people generally lived long, happy, healthy, and useful lives. And many of these cultures that he studied during Dr. Weston Price's lifetime, he found that as civilization came into these areas and they were being exposed to processed foods, that their health immediately declined. And within one generation, we had children with all the same sorts of diseases that modern Western culture sees in its civilization.
Wow. So there's a real plug for the living raw food lifestyle.
Yes.
A special treat, because of course I promote that. I didn't know that we'd be getting into that, but that's good. And the thing that I wanted to kind of re-emphasize that you said that I like so much is the relationship between the teeth and the health of the whole body. You used the scriptural connection from the Bible of how there are many members in a body, spiritually speaking, and how it's likened to our earthly body, or this body right here. And so this is a member, and then this would be a member, and your teeth would be members. And so all the members depend on one another. And it's kind of like that theory of the weakest link in the chain. You know, a chain is only as strong as the weakest link. Well, I think that's exactly what Dr. Halko was just saying earlier, that, you know, the teeth are fundamental to our overall health. And when the teeth start going bad, all the body, you know, like this woman you're working with now, she's having that experience. She's having problems with all aspects of her health. So are there any tips about how a person that maybe just never really thought about this before, some of the practical transition steps they might take to kind of go from that lifestyle to the lifestyle you're talking about? Got about 1 minute.
Well, yes, and I would say that nutrition is key. Learn about the foods that nourish and emphasize those. Begin to remove from your normal diet the foods which may prove to be ill health to you. Drink plenty of water, and brush your teeth and floss them.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank Dr. Halko. Maybe there'll be another opportunity to do this again. He's a wealth of knowledge. As much as I've studied and feel like I've absorbed a lot of information over the years, I always get new info and enjoy talking with him. So hopefully we'll get the treat of having him with us again in the future. He's my friend, he's my brother, I love him, and we'll see you next time on Our Health.